Hello everyone and welcome to Play First, a channel dedicated to creating and sharing content about all things Magic the Gathering related. This video is part of a series of informational videos on what you need to know about MTG. So here is the basics. In this episode, we'll be talking about mana costs. So let's begin. We first need to understand the concept of mana. Mana, in Magic the Gathering, is a form of magic that emanates from your connection with the land or plane you're in. In actual gameplay, it is a resource that you use in order to cast spells. There are 5 colors of mana. White, the color of healing, order, and light. Blue, the color of knowledge, curiosity, and trickery. Black, the color of darkness, despair, and death. Red, the color of chaos, war, and destruction, and green, the color of growth, nature, and life. Where do we get mana from? The most basic source of mana are lands. In order to produce mana, we must activate our connection with the lands. We do this by tapping the lands. Plains produce white mana. Islands produce blue mana. Swamps produce black mana. Mountains produce red mana, and forests produce green mana. Moving now from what we know about mana, we can now talk about mana costs. Mana cost, or often referred to as casting cost, is the amount of mana spent on casting a spell. You basically produce mana and then you cast the spell by paying its mana cost. Alright, time to go straight into some examples. Don't worry. This lesson will be as easy as grade school math. Let's take a look at the card Lightning Bolt. The mana cost of a spell is located at the top right of the card. As you can see, there is a red mana symbol on the top right. This restricts the card from being played using the other colors. We cannot use a plains, a swamp, a forest, or an island to play Lightning Bolt. For this example, we can only use red mana. Having only one red mana symbol on it, Lightning Bolt costs 1 red mana to play. Easy, right? Let's move to another example. The next card we have is Counterspell. Counterspell has 2 blue mana symbols, so it costs 2 blue mana to play. Getting the hang of it? Let's go for another one. Wait, we don't see any mana symbols on the card Short Sword. So how are we going to play it? We can only see a number enclosed in a gray circle. What does this mean? This is what we refer to as a generic mana cost. Generic mana costs can be paid with any color of mana. We also see that the value inside is 1. What does this mean again? This means that the card Short Sword can be played by 1 mana of any color. So we can pay either 1 plains, 1 island, 1 swamp, 1 mountain, or 1 forest to play the card. Got it so far? That's great! We now move forward to our next example. Take a look at the card Miran Crusader. Can you tell the card's mana cost? Let's break it down 1 symbol at a time. We have 1 generic mana which we can pay with any color, and 2 white mana. If we were to add all the mana we spent, we arrive at 3 mana. This is what we refer to as converted mana cost, or more fondly known as CMC. Converted mana cost is the total amount of mana in the mana cost. Let's try getting the CMC of the following examples. Here we have 1 black mana which is equivalent to 1 CMC. Next, we have 2 blue mana which is equivalent to 2 CMC. How about generic mana cost? We have a single symbol with the number 2 inside. Going from our previous examples, this is 2 generic mana. So what would be our converted mana cost? Our converted mana cost would be the number shown in the generic mana cost. In this case, 2. Now how about this? Let's start with 3 generic mana and 2 white mana. How much is our converted mana cost? Our CMC is 5. You seem to have it already. Let's proceed then. Let's play the card Sahili, Sublime Artificer. Huh? What are those? This is Hybrid Mana. Hybrid Mana is a combination of two mana colors that can be paid with either one of the colors shown. So how do we count the mana cost for this symbol? We only count it as one cost of mana. So 1 CMC for a single symbol. Going back to the card, we can pay its mana cost by using 3 blue mana, 1 blue and 2 red, 2 red and 1 blue, or even 3 red. Since we have only spent 3 mana, our CMC is 3. Easy. Move to our next card. Huh? What on earth is that again? Let's slice the mana cost into what we understand so far. We clearly see that the card has one generic mana cost. But what is the second symbol for? This is Colorless Mana. Very straightforward, it is mana that does not have any color. So we cannot use our traditional lands to pay for such a mana cost. Then where do we get colorless mana? Colorless mana can be produced by lands with no color. Hence, we introduce a new land card, Wastes. Wastes is considered a basic land that produces colorless mana. We can also have non-basic lands that produce colorless mana, such as Field of Ruin. After the release of Oath of the Gatewatch, land cards such as Radiant Fountain are now considered as colorless mana producers. It is important to note here the difference between generic mana cost and colorless mana. Colorless mana is a type of mana, along with the 5 basic colors of mana, while generic mana cost is a type of cost, literally a generic cost. Hope that clears up some confusion. From here, the card Ornithopter flies in. What is Ornithopter's mana cost? Nothing. 0, nada, nil. There are certain cards in Magic the Gathering that has 0 mana cost, meaning no mana resource is required to cast these spells. Other famous examples of 0 mana cost cards are Mana Crypt and the most expensive card in MTG, Black Lotus. Going to our next set of cards, let's examine the card Stone Coil Serpent. Stone Coil Serpent costs X. So, what is X? Looks like we need to retake algebra and compute for the value of X. Nope, we don't need to do that here. X is a type of generic mana, meaning it can be paid with any color of mana, including colorless. Additionally, X can be equivalent to any amount of mana a player can spend. Often, the X also refers to a certain value in the ability of the card. Take a look at the ability of Stone Coil Serpent. Stone Coil Serpent enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. So if we pay 1 mana, Stone Coil Serpent becomes a 1/1 creature. If we pay 10, then it becomes a 10/10 creature. Not so complicated after all. How about the card Walking Ballista? How do we cast this card? Its cost has 2 X's. How much mana do we spend in casting such a card? Double X cards are played by first choosing a value for X, then doubling that value. If we want Walking Ballista to be a 1/1 creature, then we pay 2. If we want it to be a 2/2 creature, then we pay 4. And if it's a 3/3, then we pay 6. You can still select any value for X as long as you can pay for twice the mana cost of that value. Next up on our list to understanding mana costs are these guys. These are referred to as Phyrexian mana cost. Phyrexian mana costs were introduced in the set New Phyrexia. As you can see, there's also 5 colors of Phyrexian mana. So how do we pay for Phyrexian mana costs? We pay this cost by using a mana of the color of the symbol shown on the card or by paying 2 life. Yup, you heard that correctly, you can pay with 2 life. Take the card Mutagenic Growth as an example. Since the mana symbol is green, you can cast the card by paying 1 green mana. Or if in case you don't have green mana, you can instead pay 2 life to play the card. Let's see the card Dismember. We can pay its casting cost with 1 generic mana and 2 black mana. Alternatively, we can pay for the card using 1 generic mana, 1 black mana, and 2 life. Or, if we take Hurting Ourselves to another level, 1 generic mana and 4 life. Ouch. Last, we take a look at Snow mana costs. Snow mana costs are represented by a snowflake symbol. To pay Snow mana cost, you need mana that is produced by a Snow permanent, regardless of the mana type. Snow permanents are often distinguished by their subtype Snow, such as Snow-covered plains or Snow-covered forest. So let's say we want to cast a spell like Astrum's Astrolabe. We are unable to play the card using a forest that produces green mana. We can only cast it by producing mana from a snow-covered forest. However, snow is neither a color or a type of mana. And that's it for today's episode. Hope you have a better understanding now of mana cost. If you like this video, consider clicking the like button. Also, please follow our page and subscribe to our YouTube channel, so you get to see the other videos of this series when they come out. Thanks guys, and see you!